Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Marital delusions and delusions. Or people's expectations when they get married. Marital illusions were delusion. Some people look at marriage and they are in a delusion, or their marriage is a delusion, or the outward appearance of what is a marriage is an illusion, meaning based on whims, fantasies, and selfishness. And I'm speaking in particular in Western countries. In another sense, in some societies, the concepts of marriage from the moral standard and social structure, there are better outcomes in the marriage. And from some cultures and some societies, especially in Western society, but here I want to speak more of the U.S., a lot of it is built on illusions and disillusion. Illusion meaning before even just the concept of marriage. What is a person's concept of marriage? And then when they get into one, or they are in one, the effects of their illusions become very delusional. And this is where you see people get divorced at a high rate, from the woman's point of view, from the man's point of view. But you'll see from a lot of the women who are complaining, who have this illusion of what is marriage, and once she's in one, she's very delusional. This is something that people don't talk about within the community when they talk about why divorce is at a high rate, or the people are divorcing at a high rate. The reality is that people enter into marriages with an illusion of what is marriage and not what is the correct understanding from the Quran and Sunnah what is marriage. And once they're in the marriage, the illusion that they had that wasn't concrete or it wasn't based on reality, the woman becomes very delusional. More so of the women, they are very delusional because they had an illusion what is marriage. I had some Disney princess concept of Cinderella as marriage have no hardships or ups and downs, or everything doesn't go her fantasy way. Likewise with men. This also happens to men. Some of them have illusions what is a marriage. Some of them have false impressions. Assalamu alaikum. Some of them have false impressions. What is the ideal Muslim woman? Or the ideal woman? Some of it's based on illusions. For example, speaking for myself, my experiences and experiences of my peers or that are men, their illusion of marriages or their illusion of women that's not based on reality. And then when they get this illusional fantasy women there was dreaming about all their life, and once they get them, they see the reality of the woman. It wasn't the reality of the woman and the condition that she's in. He's like, wow, shocked. Because his illusion of the woman wasn't based on reality. Sometimes the man version or illusion of a woman is based on imagery, a certain type of look, a certain type of figure, or from a certain type of country who has certain type of appearance based on illusion, based on imagery. Not based on reality, that women have ups and downs. Women are emotional or irrational at times. Women are jealous at times. Some of them have bad manners even if they look pretty. Some of them have bad manners even if they're religious and have shortcomings. And this is why in Islam, people should understand before they get married, what is marriage based on? A man needs to understand, what is marriage really based on? The concepts of marriage that is more than just the financial duty. What is his spiritual duty to the woman, or spiritual commitment? You should base on these things and these type of imagery. Based on these things and not just the imagery. Likewise, the woman, especially in a Western country, because sometimes in the Muslim world, people do divorce, but people have a good concept of what is marriage before they get into it. And this is why some of them have a little bit more success in their marriage. Whether here in the Western country, like in America, for the Muslim community, sometimes their marriages is like the non-Muslim in the dating system. The dating system where the person is trying to meet someone and get to know them. And if it works out, it works out. And if it don't, it don't. So you look for some type of imagery. Women who they fantasize about, or women get men that they fantasize about. For the man, it might be a certain type of appearance in the dating system, and the woman is a certain type of man and have a certain type of finances and appearances, because she wants the man to blow all his money on her, and that's not based on reality. Right? That she wants the man to blow all his money, spend all his money on her without her doing anything for it. Right? Likewise, the man, he wants to get the beautiful woman in the dating system so he could boast about it, or he could have some type of relationship about it just to fulfill his hawa. Then he's off to the next one. This is the dating system with the kuffar. When we look at some of the Muslim marriages in Islam in America, they're falling into the same predicaments. Why? Because they don't have a good moral concept of what is marriage in Islam. There is no good concept that they have about marriage, even according to the Quran and Sunnah. And then they don't have, in some cases, they don't have the role models for it. So this is why many people in our community, they understand that marriage is based on illusions illusion. And then when they get married based on these illusions, the delusion sets in. The reality sets in. This is why a person should have a good understanding before he or she wants to get married. Have a good concept and understanding from the Islamic point of view, which is based on the Kitab and Sunnah, which is based upon the ethics according to Quran and Sunnah, morals according to the Quran and Sunnah, financial responsibility according to the Quran and Sunnah. There's some sisters who get into the marriages, and I'm going to get into the brothers later, who get married in the Muslim community, and she is stepping into that Islamic marriage with a feminist concept, with a broken up feminist concept. When she look at the Islamic legislation about nikah, she's looking it through the feminist eye. And she highlight all the things about marriage in Islam that a feminist will like. A man must pay for everything. A man cannot take money from his wife to make her pay bills. The woman's money is her money. The man's money is his money. Then you have some of the idiotic Muslim women who look at some Arab nationalists' practices about marriage, like from Maghrib, where they say if a man wants another wife, he has to get his first wife's permission. Nowhere in the Sharia of Allah say that. But they look and they see these things and they think it's deen. So she goes to the marriage. According to Islam, she only look at from it the feminist points. And she ignores what is her particular duties as a Muslimah for her husband. Which her duties are very highlighted and is very detailed and highlighted. And it's much. Asking the husband permission to travel outside the home. Asking the husband to travel outside the home. Permission. Asking the husband, can she fast? The voluntary fast. Not allowing in the home strangers that he dislikes. And if she's wealthy, still, she cannot spend on her children unless with the husband's permission. That the man have say-so over his household and his children, even if she has more money than him or more educated than him. The feminist Muslimah who looks to get married, she skips over those things. And then she enters also her marriage based on illusions. The feminist illusion. I seen on a Facebook marriage group a Caucasian sister from Europe talking about the feminist in her country worked so hard for women's rights. Can she marry a Muslim man who's going to respect the feminist ways? I laughed when I read this. I said, a man is not looking for a woman who wants to be equal like him, like a man. If you're not going to respect the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get married, and you want to do as you want to do, and go as you want to go, sleep with any man you want to sleep with, then you ain't going to find no real man who's going to marry you. You might find some pimp. A pimp might agree with that. A duyuth might agree with that. So this is why their marriages, a lot of marriages in the Muslim community, in the Western world, they end in divorce because the nuclear family is not really understood. And likewise, the Muslim man, he's the number one at fault. The Muslim man, he's the number one at fault. He's at fault. He is more at fault than the woman. And I'm going to explain why the Muslim man, in these type of scenarios, we are the ones who was at fault more. We are the ones to blame more than the women. First and foremost, we choose to marry women like this with these type of concepts and ideas, not based on reality and not based on waqi', the reality, not based upon kitab or sunnah. And we chase them. And we put these type of women on a pedestal by chasing them and giving them attention. 2, then they end up marrying them. 3, we end up producing female children like them. We end up producing female children like this. And we throw them in the environment, the school environment, the society that we live in, that corrupts women and corrupts her nature and changes her nature to be something other than what Allah created her for. We throw her in these type of societies as Muslim men who have daughters. Even if the mother is not like this, we throw her in a society, in this type of environment, from putting her in public school. Let her freely mix with these type of ideas in colleges in the name of trying to get a westernized education. So us men, we really at blame. We're the number one at blame for the women being even in these type of conditions. We're at fault. Anywhere we look at it, we're at fault. Either by chasing the women who have these type of illusions and put them at a high pedestal, by chasing them, by giving them the attention that they do not deserve. It's like giving it's like giving a criminal attention. So sisters who have these type of feminist ideas, who have these bad etiquettes and bad outlook of marriage, we chase them down to marry them. We are at fault. We are the ones to blame. And then us as men who have female daughters, we throw them to the wolves. We allow the society to corrupt them. We're busy with everything else except for that which is concerned our household and our children, and that includes the women and female child. And then when we say, why are the women in this way? Why the women are delusional and don't have a good understanding of marriage? We say, well, they're irrational. Or we would say that something is wrong with them. Or we say this particular woman, she has shortcomings. No, because we made them this way. The fathers made them this way. The men who end up marrying them with these bad ideas, we pamper them. We chase them. On Facebook, we chase them. We befriend them. We're in their inbox. We're clicking like on their pages. We're laughing with them. We're praising them for their feminist ideas and concepts. We are the ones to blame. It's like you have a vase. It's like you have a vase. It's fragile. But even though you know this vase or this vase, it is fragile, we decide to put this fragile vase in the hallway where there's a lot of traffic. For sure, we know it's going to break when somebody hits it. We take our woman who's like a vase that's fragile, and we put her in the environment where for sure it's going to break her. She's weak. or originally she's weak. And then we have us men, some of us brothers who are still to blame. We were raised by women like this. These broken women, these broken feminist women. Feminists have different degrees and levels. Feminists have different degrees and levels and different schools of thought. But a lot of their concepts is infiltrated into the nuclear home or the nuclear family. So some of us men, we've been raised with women like this. Who most likely you was raised by a woman like this who was herself a single mother. Because she couldn't deal with the reality. And then the reality of feminists, it destroyed the nuclear home, for most likely there was no man in the house. So you was raised by a woman like this. So when you become adult male, you marry somebody similar to the feminist mother that you had. Because you're going to say, oh, that's a strong woman. Because my mother was this way. But that was the reason why your mother was single. Then you end up marrying the same feminist type woman. With the feminist ideas. Thinking that this is a strong woman. And then you end up in the same predicament. You end up in the same predicament. Divorced. We're to blame. Any way we look at it, as a man, as the male, we're to blame for the women in this society the way they are. We're to blame. And the only way to rectify that particular situation is through correctly adjusting our behavior, correctly adjusting our ideas, correctly adjusting the requirements that we look for when marrying women. The correct way we educate our own daughters in the environments that we make to put her in, especially when it comes to learning. I will end with that.